All right, welcome. So we are on to a new tutorial, and this one is called, I will create a scene here. Uh, Hello, world. And for this, we will be um, waving to the camera. That is the main goal, using some of the control tools in our layers. So here we go. Got my scene folder there starting up. And I'll go through, do the usual things. I like to save out the scene. I like to create a color card. I like to create a few more layers. Uh, Drawing layers, vector, add, and close. Excuse me. And here we go. So for this exercise, let me sketch in here what I'm thinking. I'm going to have a arm, a hand, and it's going to be waving. And this can be, have as much fun with this as you want. This could be a octopus holding a frying pan, as far as I'm concerned. So have fun with it. It does not have to be a typical arm, but it can be. And let's see, what else could it be? It could be I don't know. Um, it could be an alien hand of some kind, flower hand. Um, anyway, we will be parenting these positions together and animating this wave. So for my character, I'm going to, you guessed it, I'm going to go back to this guy, our pear-shaped guy, and oops. Excuse me while I adjust this size. And our pear-shaped guy is going to be waving a camera. And hello world. Something like that. So I keep wanting to put a face on him, but I'm going to resist the urge right now. So to wave, I'm going to move this all in, because we're working in vector. I can just scale this up. I'm going to some cartoon violence here, and I'm going to get rid of this guy's body altogether. And I'm going to be left with this arm. And I'm going to scale that arm up, shift, scale. I'm going to move it down. And so we can have our wave. You can see it's obviously going to be pretty rough. But it should do what we want it to do. So here we go. Delete these guys. Now we have our arm. And what we're going to do is, let me sketch this out a little bit. We are going to eventually, let me start here. Eventually, we will have more of a skeleton structure that we can put on this. It's called the puppet tool in Harmony. I'm going to hold back on that just a little bit and show you another method, which is simply sort of separating these into different sections and then parenting and animating. So that's what we're going to do today. So what that means is kind of separating out, this is the upper arm, this is the forearm, this is the hand, okay? Just 3 separate sections. And then I will position a pivot point here, a pivot point here, a pivot point here, and parent these so that this will be the parent, and this will be the child, and this will be the other child, the child of the parent. And that's kind of a typical structure. So I want to start breaking up the drawing, the beautiful drawing that I made. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this drawing. Won't let me delete it. Let's see here. I'm going to delete this drawing. And let's break this into sections. So to do that, I'm going to do a copy and paste. Control C, next layer, Control V, next layer, Control V, and I'm going to kind of do what I know, and then I'll make the forearm. So I'm just going to go erase. I'm going to erase the forearm section here. So this is going to be, this bottom layer is going to be my upper arm. So I'm going to erase. I'm going to kind of round it out and erase these other sections. Okay. I'm going to go all the way up to the top and do the hand because that's a very obvious break. So I'm on this drawing 2 layer. And then I'm going to create the forearm, this one here, by referencing the other layers in there. Let's see, is that going to make sense what I'm saying? So I know I can erase that hand, and then we'll find the position of the upper arm. All right, might leave a little space, a little overlap, I should say. So there's our overlap. And then I'm going to erase on this middle foreground layer now. I hope I'm not confusing you. I'm going to erase the upper arm, hopefully leaving some overlap. And let's move this forearm to see how much overlap there is. Let's see. Select all. Let's see if that's good. I'm going to erase a little more and move it back. Let's see. All right, just getting the sizing right. So I want a little overlap, a little overlap. And I left that behind somehow, but maybe I don't need it. Okay, so upper arm, forearm, hand of our little pear-shaped guy, and he's going to say, hello world. He's going to wave at us. So one of the first things I'm going to want to do is adjust the pivot position of this element. And because right now, if I go into my layer and this is where I have all of my control, all of my controls, my translate, a position, my rotation, my scale, my skew is all here. And you'll know very quickly what these things do and what this means. But if I select this, and this is all on one layer now, on this, and this, I'm sorry, let's rename these real quick. Upper arm, even though it's in the lower part of the screen. So I'm going to say arm upper. I'm going to say arm 4. I'm going to say, to keep it consistent, I'm going to say arm hand. And we're actually not going to need this, so I'm going to get rid of this layer altogether. Now, back to our upper arm. All these control positions are in here. If I go in here and rotate, so I go from 0, I just click on, I kind of put the cursor over, and the hand comes up with the little arrows on either side, and I drag. So now I'm just dragging back and forth. If I do that, it moves that upper arm. It rotates it. It's great. We've got some control. But it's not rotating it from where I would imagine. I would imagine it would rotate from down here. So to make that happen, what we do is, and let's see, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to extend the exposure on all these. So we just sort of keep them in our view. All right, scale this back a little bit. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to move the pivot position. Hopefully, you have this view available to you. These are your controls for what we're about to do. You translate, these are your layer controls. And if I press on rotate, it shows me where the pivot position is for the layer that I have selected, in this case, upper arm. Okay, I want to move that. I want to place my cursor over there and drag it down to here, about the shoulder. All right, and let's see, and then automatically I can start to rotate from that position. I am, to be clean about it, I'm going to go ahead and set a key, insert keyframe. So that's keyed. And let's move on to adjusting the pivot positions of the upper, of the forearm and the hand, just quickly. So I want the forearm. I'm going to solo this. I'm going to bring this down to here. The orientation I'm not going to worry about too much, I don't think. Keyframe. So now that's keyed. And let's do our hand. And unsolo that. Move our hand up to here. All right. All right, and we're going to keyframe. So now we have all of these pivot positions in the correct place. Upper arm, forearm, hand. And we have our first key position. So now if I go down here and I say upper arm and I say rotate. So I'm just selecting this once and I rotate. It's rotating. And let's see what's it doing. It's rotating around the shoulder. That's good. That's what I want. But if I select this, I can type in the number I want. I want 0. But it's leaving its friends behind. It's leaving the forearm and the hand behind. Very painful. So what we can do is parent these. This is a big part of the lesson that we're doing here. So I'm going to parent them one by one because it's going to be a tree. And I'm going to take the arm 4, the forearm, and drag it, select it, and then drag it onto arm upper. And now that is parented under there. So if I go in here into upper arm and I rotate upper arm, it moves the forearm as well, which is what we want. Back to 0. Get the hand on there. Delete this keyframe. Not sure how I created that. Let's get the hand on here. Let's drag the hand onto the, do we want it on the upper arm? No. Let's do that just to show you what happens. So now if I rotate the upper arm, let's see here. Looks like it's working until we rotate the forearm. So now if we rotate the forearm, the system breaks. So what do we want? We want that hand parented underneath the forearm, under the arm 4. Right? So let's do that. Go back to 0. What did I rotate? Go back to 0. And let's go back to what we should have done the first time and parent this hand underneath arm 4. Now, when we rotate these guys, we are going to be able to break them how we want. So we can, again, rotate that upper arm. I'm going to rotate it the other way just a little bit. Turn off onion skinning. And I'm going to then rotate my forearm. Again, this little plus symbol opens up the controls. I'm going to rotate that back the other way. And I'm going to rotate my hand. And it will not affect anything above it because there is nothing above it. So there's our hand. So now we have full control over our upper arm, forearm, and hand. And we are going to do a wave. Now, finally, the fun part. And this is important stuff to know. This is a sort of a whip action, and you use it all the time in animation. You use it for tails. You use it for Hello World tutorial videos. What else? You use it for anything, any sort of extremity that is sort of hanging freely or is in a chain like this. So let's set our first key. So we'll go in here and raise this up again. So for our first key, we're kind of working in extremes here. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to kind of rotate it this way. So I'm going to rotate that upper arm, the other way, like this. Okay, like that. Just a little bit, I guess. And then the forearm, yeah, the same way. Oops. And the hand, same way. And then we'll do a breakdown that'll keep it nice and loose. Oops. Okay, like that. All right, and then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to set another key. Let's see, we'll just make it 12 frames. Working at 24, half a second. Let's see how that looks. So we'll go 12 frames. I'll set another key. I like to set keys right when I get to that point. Set key on everything. All right, go up here And I'm going to move that upper arm first to down here, but not too far. So I guess about the same amount. Sorry, maybe a little more. Okay. Move that upper arm. I'm sorry, the forearm to that way too. And the forearm has an elbow that we don't want to break. Let's take it to 0. And the hand can be looser. And that's automatically keying those positions when I do that. And we can go positive with the hand. We can go even more. Even more. All right. So now we've got this, right? It's the beginning of our wave. And then we're going to want to go back to this position. So I'm going to say, let's see, Control C. Will that work? Control C, Control V. It does work. Selecting that, Control C, Control V selects that keyframe information. Control C, Control V, right? And then I'm going to want to do some breakdown in here, some in-betweens. So we've got this position, and at about here, about halfway, I want to have the forearm be going a little further, have the upper arm going a little further, the forearm lagging, maybe not that much, we'll see, and having the hand lagging as well, like that. Okay, again, those are automatically keyed. And so then let's drop this in, kind of the same idea, but in reverse. And then go to here, and I'm going to have that upper arm making its way up. Oops, making its way up. Let's see, maybe not that much. What is it on this frame? On this frame, it's -5. So we'll do it -3. I'll type that in. Keys it. And then we'll keep the rotation angle at -2 on the forearm. Just a little bit. Actually, let's just do, yeah, that's fine. And then a hand, let's do, I'm not sure. Let's drag the hand and see. Other way, Dave. And a little looser. All right, let's see what that looks like. I'm going to drag this back here. I'm going to go one frame before our loop frame. And so this frame was the same. It'll loop around and use that same frame. Go loop. And there's our kind of klutzy wave, waving a little bit. So let's make it a little faster. So let's collapse these down. Look at them all at once. And let's just make this faster. Let's make it about twice as fast. Okay. Maybe not twice as fast, but quite a bit faster. Okay. And our last frame, we need this. Let's see if this will work. All right. And we will move this to here. Okay, let's see what this looks like. That's a little better. Now, it's clunky, isn't it? And we can adjust that. So let me show you how. I'm going to do a file save. We've come a long way. I will do a file save. And we show you how we can adjust these curves. We can actually go in and adjust the curves. And we do that by double clicking on the name of the control point. So in this case, we've rotated all these controls. And we want to adjust these curves so they're nice and smooth. So these are called Bezier curves. We can come in and adjust them so they're smoother. Just double click, I guess, to bring up the curve. And then you can drag them out all nice like this. And so this will settle in more than that. And you'll be surprised at how much this cleans things up. And let's see here. Double click on that. I guess I'll close that up for now. And again, pull this out. Oh, this is going to be so smooth, so much smoother. All right. For those of you who've done any kind of 3D animation, this will look very familiar. This is controlling these drawings in very much the same way that you control positions in 3D. Okay, close that, and let's do the hand, and hopefully this really loosens things up. Double clicking there. I'm actually going to adjust this position down a little bit because I think that's what we want. Maybe that's why it was looking so clunky. I'm going to adjust it down a little more. And I'm just pulling these out. And a little tedious, but it'll be worth it, I promise. Pull this out, and like this. All right, and close that up. Let's play this again and see what it looks like with the onions getting off. And there we go. So our guy is saying, hello world, with a nice little wave. Other things to take this further, things that I would do, I would obviously move this shoulder just a little bit. Let's do that right now. What the heck? So if that's a position there, and then it goes down there, what do we want that shoulder to do? I guess I would just move it. I guess it would drop a little bit. Maybe about half that much. Let's see. 0.4. Okay. And then I would delete these. Can I delete these? I just delete those frames on the position, if that makes sense. And let's look at the curves and smooth those out as well. Again, this is cleanup. Obviously, we had our wave. Our character was saying, hello, world. But maybe we can add a little bit more life to it by adding in that shoulder. So whether you're using rotation or position, this process is the same. You can access these curves by double clicking, and this one is flat. All right. And then all I did here was I selected those keys and deleted them because we don't want any kind of in-between on the upper arm. But let's see what this looks like. So now there's just a little bit of motion in that upper arm, and it just helps the whole thing feel a little looser. So thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful. And any questions, leave them for me below. Thank you.